Hello, so continuing on from the textures that I exported from the Hair Strand Designer, I'm going to show you how I go about setting things up in Photoshop. Now, I had one or two requests of people asking could I pack the textures inside Hair Strand Designer then export a layered PSD, and the quick answer to that is no, because it requires a lot of understanding of Unicode and deciphering different ways that Photoshop packs things together. And I don't have that big a budget, unfortunately. This is a low-key solution to hair strands, and I don't think it will go much further than that unless I have a breakthrough in cash and I can hire someone or some company to do it. Anyway, so you'll get these color maps and your depth map and all these things. I've opened them wrong actually, so I'm gonna just close a whole bunch of them, because what I normally do is I just open one, then I'll get the rest of them. So if I open from the folder, it's desktop, was it? Temp. Okay. So I've already opened the color demo, so now I want depth, ID, mask, norm, and all these things. And then I just bring them in over. Try that again. Make sure you're directly over the page and it will snap in place. And I usually just hit enter a few times. Now, so I've got my normal map here and I can have a look at that. And that looks fine, but what I like to do is rasterize it first. And then if you've got your GPU enabled in the preferences, you'll get this filter called Stylize Oil Paint. And with the settings quite low here, it irons out some of the pixel noise you get. Now you need to be careful because it will try and pull some pixels around a bit as well, but 333 is a good setting. You see that just cleans up the pixels there. You can use that for any of them. So there's the mask one, so I'm going to rasterize that. I'll just rasterize them all actually. Rasterize. So the mask's looking good, although I think I'll do the same filter on it. And I'll also just bring the levels up just a little bit. Okay, there's our ID. And that's looking fine. And you see the ID map doesn't inherit the alpha fade or anything like that, so you still get the actual ID of the hairs. Okay, I'm not going to bother too much with the oil paint effect on that. This is the depth mask, so the darker it is, the further back it is. That looks okay. I'll just give it the oil paint filter. Maybe not, maybe not. Okay, some cases not. And the RGB mask here for the root tip and color. So I can pack the depth and the mask together because they're both grayscale. Or I could put the mask inside the alpha of the color, or the depth inside the RGB mask alpha. Different ways I can pack things here. So I would probably put the mask inside the alpha of color here, so I'll just call that color. Call it color demo. Okay. And you can see the backdrop is black. I'm going to change that in a new release where you can change the backdrop color here of the color map, just so that you've got a base to work off. But what I like to do is just choose like blank layer here. Choose your base color. And fill that. And then change this to screen. and that will kind of work good enough. I'll just copy that to show you the difference. Put that back to normal. And it kind of works, right? These are base colors that I can always change later anyway. So I'd put these inside folder, and then that would, let's copy that layer. Just got silly error noises, just ignore that. And the channels, add this one here for the alpha, and then paste that in there. So I'm getting the annoying error messages. It's more like a sound effect thing, but you can go into your preferences and error, is it error log? History log. There's a thing here you can change to, there you go, reset all warning dialogues. Okay, and it just gets rid of that annoying noise. Okay, so that would be the color and opacity, and I would give it the name here, like brown hair. I guess depth and ID could go together, so I'll just copy the depth there. I'll put these both in a folder. And I can't just paste this in the alpha channel because the alpha is used through the whole document. One thing I could do is I could add a mask here, like that, and then save it as a PNG file, and it's got the alpha in there. So I'll just do that. I could do that here as well, in fact, just to show you the other way of doing it. So that's now the ID and depth. Call it brown hair, ID depth, and this would be brown hair RGB mask. Now the way one of my shaders works, it actually requires the alpha cutout to be in the alpha of this. I'm just going to add it to there just to be sure. And that should be everything ready to go. I've got the normal here as well, so I'll just call that brown hair norm. Okay, that's cool. That's our color with the mask. That's our depth. The depth is there, and that's all good. ID depth, sorry, and that's the RGB mask. Okay, cool. So with those done, I can select them all and do an export. One thing you need to be wary of is when you do export as, it will try and crop the image, like you see here. It's trying to crop it. The one way about that is to put these inside another folder. So I'm going to put that in another folder there. Just give it the same name, and then I'll just give it a mask, but have nothing, basically nothing in there. Still works the same, just the top level is just a white mask. I'll do the same with this. And same with this one. So I'll just add the mask to each, like that. The normal map's fine because it uses up the full space with this blue colour. It doesn't have any alpha. So I basically want to export these, so I can just control and select them all, or shift and select them all. and then right click and do export as, and you'll see that each texture is now 4K the way it should be, and it's got all the cut out things, the alpha basically in there. That's good to go, so I export all, and I would basically call this like processed. Bit disorganized at the minute, but that's fine. I'm just going to put them there, and that's it. So if we go to desktop, processed, you'll see that all the textures are pretty much there, ready to put into a shader. I hope that helps with anyone who's using the Hair Strand Designer, how to sort of pack up your textures and things. That's basically the way I do it. You could, in theory, put the opacity into the red channel and green channel. If you wanted to do something like that, I'll show you how. So just add a new layer. I might want to call this like brown hair channel pack. Let's see, we'll do mask and then depth, mask depth, and I'll do something else called spec, right, or metal. Right, so if you've got something like that, I'll just turn everything else off, so it's just this we're seeing. I'm going to fill it with black. Right, so I'm going to choose the mask, which is this one. Now I'm going into the channels, and I'm going to just paste it into the red. It will let me. Just get rid of that alpha, I don't need that there just now. Oh, let's try that again. I need to enable the layer to copy and paste. So red, then depth. So enable the layer, copy that one. Back up here, I'm just going to disable those just in case they come through. They probably won't, but just in case. Paste that there. So that's me using the red and green channels, and blue I'll do something a bit different. So I'm going to grab the color. Open these folders up. I'm going to grab the color one here. That's just this color demo, and paste that above so I can work on it. And I'm going to change this to grey. I'm going to lighten up a bit like that, and I guess I could do a couple of things like, so I've made a copy and I'll do filter and noise. Let's add some noise. I'll just do the monochromatic. It's going to be grayscale, and then I'll do blur, motion blur, vertical, but not as strong as that, just a few little bits like that. Okay, and then I'll just dim that down a bit. In fact, I'm going to change it to overlay and bring it up, and then I'll play with the levels until I get to something that I quite like. Okay, and I'm just going to levels adjust this one down. A bit more like that. Okay, I might want to use this. I want to use this RGB mask to get the root in a little bit. So I'm just going to copy that layer, paste it above, and then that way when I get into the channels, that's the one that's going to be working right. So I've got my red channel as my variation, my green is my root, and my blue is my tip. So I'm going to copy this green channel just to sort of bring that in a bit more. I'm going to paste that in there and use screen. Get rid of that so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to bring this opacity up. So you see now I'm just enhancing the root a little bit, and that's pretty good. That will work for a metalness map, and I can always play with the values and things like that in a shader. So I'm just going to mix them together. just copy that, hide the, go back to this one, right, back to the channels, and I'm going to put that in the blue channel. So now I've got my packed RGB here, and I want to bring also the mask into the alpha, just to be sure. Oops. So I'm just going to copy that layer, getting the bloody error things again. So go back to general, reset all warning dialogues, and that gets rid of that. Don't know why it does it. It happens with me quite a lot, but if you ever get the annoying warning sound, that's how to temporarily fix it. Okay, so what was I doing? Mask, and I'm going to paste that in there, right? So now I've got brown hair, channel packed. I'll just call it packed, right? Mask depth metal, and I've already used the mask, haven't I? So it's RGB pack, packed. I'll just do packed RGB, right? And I'll just get rid of that because it's only used in the 3 channels. Then I don't want to apply it. I just want to get rid of it. Then it will be a smaller file size. Okay, so that's good. It's using up the full space, so I can export this as well. All the same. So export as. Okay, export all. And that will go into the processed. I think the hair looks quite good like that. Kind of fire here. Right. So just have a look at that. So we got the main color with the mask cut out. That's why it's white in the background. The ID with the cutout. You don't see it so clearly here. It's not the greatest viewer. Normal map, the packed mask depth metal map, and you can do whatever you want with that, but it just seems to be, you know, a good way to do it. So you could get away with basically using the RGB mask for your variation, your root and tip, and then you've got this packed one for your mask depth and metal, right? And yeah, I think this has got the mask in the alpha already, but you can do whatever you want with each of these channels. That's pretty much what I would do then. So having the ability to export each individual map is kind of okay, because you can recombine them however you like and make any adjustments that you might want to make. Like if you want to combine other maps into this area and use up the space, then you can do that. That's pretty much it for this video, so thanks for watching. Thanks to those who have bought Hair Strand Designer. The support really helps, and I'm working on making it a little bit better as time goes by, but it's now getting quite heavy on the sort of feature side, and I need to be careful I don't break it. So I'm going to work on some new things like bending the hairs and having some little influence nodes to help pull them around and bend them and make them do arcs and things. But it will take some time to develop, so bear with me, and thanks for watching. Bye.